Hello, this is Pastor Corey Sulian, and today's date is April 19th, 2023. I want to give you my daily soul winning testimony and a tip of the day. Let's start off yesterday. Yesterday, I was in my office and a lady called, and she had called our church asking if we pick up people and bring them to church on a bus. She is 70 years of age. And she had a social worker that she was just talking to casually one day and just said, I haven't gone to church in a while, in many years, and I kind of want to go to church again. I want to be in God's house. And she asked, do you know of any churches in town that have a bus that picks up people and brings them to church? And this social worker, she didn't remember her name, but she said to her, someone told me about Hopewell Baptist Church, that they have a bus and that they bring people to church. Give them a call and see if they can pick you up. And so she called yesterday, and I said, yes, we'd be happy to pick you up. And I said, I'd like to come and meet you and give you a brochure from our church and just introduce myself to you. And so we made an appointment for today at 2:00. And so I went over to her house, and she lives in a retirement center, senior citizen center. They have a bunch of apartments. You have to hit the doorbell or hit the apartment number, and then they buzz you in and things like that. And so I went over and got to see her today, and I said, so tell me about your past. And she told me how she was raised Catholic, mostly raised in Ohio, but had lived in Arizona and South Carolina for a time, and now she lives in Colorado. And she's mostly gone to Catholic church all of her life. And she did spend 3 years in South Carolina attending a Baptist church. I don't know what kind of Baptist church, but, down in the South, there are Baptist churches on every corner, and who knows what particular persuasion of a Baptist church it was. But I gave her my testimony of salvation, and I asked her, has anybody ever showed you those verses? And she said, no. And I said, can I share them with you? And she said, yes. And I got to go over the gospel. She was so sweet, so attentive. And we prayed together, and she asked the Lord to save her. And then afterwards, she said, I think I'm going to sleep well tonight. She goes, I haven't been getting much good sleep lately, but I think God is going to let me sleep well tonight. And what a sweet, sweet lady. She is excited about coming to our church on Sunday. And all because a social worker who had never been to our church but had heard about our church, and she recommended us to her. And then from that, I was able to have an appointment with her, share the gospel, and she got saved. Now, blessing, just a blessing. I'm looking forward to having her with us on Sunday. Now, let me give you the tip of the day, all right? 2 thoughts. Number 1, be somewhere, wherever God has placed you, and stay for a lifetime. Don't be the type of person that every couple of years you've got to move and go to a different church or a different state. Find God's will for your life and just stay. Just stay there. My wife and I moved here in 1994, and we started Hopewell Baptist Church, and I've been its pastor for 28 and a half years. This coming September will be completed 29 years. And we don't plan on leaving. This is where God's called us. When I came here, I asked God to allow me to pastor this church for 50 years, if it be his will. Obviously, if it's his will. And I started the church when I was 25 years of age, and I'd like to be pastoring until I'm 75. And then once I turn 75, I guess I'll just talk to God again at that moment and see what the future holds, if I'm going to keep pastoring or do something different. But I asked him for 75 years. And I also told him I would never leave unless he told me to leave. And in 28 and a half years, God has never told me to leave. Now, I have felt like leaving over times that were discouraging and low seasons, and when there were some battles and the devil was fighting. And sure, there's been different times where I felt like, man, I'd like to leave, or I'd like to go somewhere else, and or even quit altogether pastoring, But during those times, I survived them. Years ago, Jack Hyles preached a message called Survive the Quitting Places. And over these 28 and a half years, I felt like quitting. but I've survived the quitting places. And so God's been good. So, but here's the thing, this phone call, this whole salvation experience would have never happened if I'd have left 15, 20 years ago. If I'd have left 10 years ago, 5 years ago. You see, when you go somewhere and you just plant yourself and you just stay, it really does make a difference. The Bible tells us in the book of Psalms, those that are planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of their God, and they shall still bring forth fruit in old age. There's something to being planted where God has called you. We've got happy feet in America. We've got, I don't know, the 7-year itch, that expression, right? Every 7 years, we got to go somewhere and got to move, got to change, you know? We have, we're church hoppers. We're even pastors are church hoppers, you know? They hop from church to church, you know, ministry to ministry. And I just feel like if you go somewhere, wherever God has called you, and it needs to be God's will, of course, and then just stay for the rest of your life. I think that would make it so much better, and you'll produce more fruit that way, as is evidenced today. The second thing I want to give you as far as the tip of the day, be a person that is known for reaching the poor, for helping people out, giving people rides to church. I am glad that in, 1997, we started our bus ministry, and we still have it today, 2023. That's 26 years. 26 years ago, Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, in 1997, we started our bus ministry. And we are known in our community for caring for people that need rides to church, caring for the poor. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs, plead the cause of the poor and needy. The Bible tells us in the Gospels, call the poor. I think that's in Luke. Call the poor. So if you're known as a person, or if you're a part of a church and you're known as a church, a ministry, that you care for the poor and needy, that you give people rides to church, God will bring people across your path that you can help and that you can be a blessing to. So those are just two thoughts that I have for the day when it comes to soul winning. I wanted to share this wonderful soul winning testimony and then give you those two thoughts. I hope they were an encouragement to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Send me a message. I'd love to help in any way, shape, or form. I hope these videos have been an encouragement for you. God bless you. Have a good day.